So I wanted to take this moment to transition and to talk about my talk today, which is where no one has gone before. And last week I opened up the conversation by talking about this idea that there is a you in consciousness that we must activate in the field so that people can see it, can resonate with it, can become connected to it all. And also that in the midst of all this turmoil and strife and sickness and disease and economic concerns, we can feel it's all impossible, all beyond our reach. And as I was putting this together, I thought of this song, and we have the perfect singer to introduce to you, Marcus J. Paige, and The Impossible Dream.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, and to run where the brave dare not go, and to right the unrightable wrong, and to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star. Ooh, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for that heavenly cause. And I know if I only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will have peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest, and the world will be better for this. Oh, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable, the unreachable, the unreachable star.
Thank you, Marcus. Yeah, people are applauding here. We should applaud that. I was here on Thursday when he recorded that here in Sanctuary, and Misa and I were sitting out in the sanctuary just stunned. He had not sung for a month before he sang that for us because he had some oral surgery, and that was the first song he sang since his surgery. Like, wow. And I almost hesitated to use it because for years it was very, very overdone. Everyone sang The Impossible Dream, but in this moment where we are, everything that's happened this week. Okay, just to recap, on Tuesday there was that debate. I want to call it a debate because that's what they listed it as. There was that thing on TV that was in no way, shape, or form anything that I aspire to, and that I hope that America aspires to, for how to have a discourse, an exchange of ideas. And then on Wednesday and Thursday and then Friday, we found out that President Trump and his wife and lots of other people had gotten infected from COVID, got infected with COVID, but from their non-social distancing. And just taking it all in, the ramifications, the feelings, the energy of that, watching. This has all just been in the last week. So I already feel like we have gone where no one has gone before. I think Deanne talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It's like the most overused word right now is unprecedented. So I think we need another word for this because it is off the charts how much we have to emotionally keep up with what's going on in the world. And how do we protect ourselves in this moment? How do we protect that inner calling that I know each and every one of you have, that inner calling to rise above the circumstances and to be the exemplars that the world needs right now, to be the ones who hold the candle high and say clearly and succinctly, this is who I am, these are the values I hold dear, and this is the light I shine. As Katie sang for us, and Misa sings for us all the time, I am light. I am not the things I have ever done. I'm not the things my family have done. We are not the things that our politicians do in our name. We are so much more. And nothing is out of our reach. There is no impossible dream. There is none. The only place where your dreams become impossible is in your mind, right? That's the only place where we stop what is possible. If we all collectively, right now, stood up and said, no, this is not the way it's going to be, we're going to all lift up higher, and turned off our Twitter feeds, and turned off paying attention to what Facebook and what they want to put out in the world all the time, distraction, we could lift ourselves up to the higher ideals, knowing that our thoughts and our beliefs and our intentions are what's going to create our world. Now, that may sound like pie in the sky. It may sound like, oh, that's never going to happen, Ken. Well, yeah, if that's what you believe, that is the thought that is creating it. That is the thought that's impossible, that's making that dream impossible. And there's lots of scripture and lots of theology that stands behind this idea. Now, I want to be really careful here as we go to the next step too, because I want to point out that I'm not just talking about saying everything's wonderful all the time. La, la, la. This is not denial, psychological denial of what's going on in the world. And the largest example I could find in Scripture about this was, of course, Jesus clearing the temple in Holy Week, going in with branches and knocking over tables and turning them upside down. If you know the history of this, is what happened is that the ruling leaders in Jerusalem, which was also a form of government, it wasn't also just the church, it was a form of government, that you had to buy your offering, your lamb, your piece of meat, whatever it was you were going to bring it to the temple, you'd have to trade it. Either trade it in, pay for it, receive it from the priests and the money exchangers before you could make your offering. It was how the priestly class made their living. And Jesus walked in and said, this is enough. Enough of this. These people don't have enough to eat. They don't have enough to live on. And still you take more and more from them. And he turned over their tables. And supposedly by Scripture, he said, this is the house of my Father, and you have turned it into a den of thieves. Now, how much of that is going on right now? When we all stand up in the streets in front of our modern temples, our modern governmental places, and say, enough, I won't take this anymore. I will not put up, you cannot ignore these names, these faces, these people. You cannot treat fellow citizens this way. Still call yourselves the United States of America. And so we turn over the tables, and we turn over the systems. I'm not saying that, clearly not saying to be violent, but there's a way to do it, as Gandhi and MLK taught us, to do it non-violently, but still effectively, powerfully, forcefully. In fact, to stand in the face of hatred and not be violent to the violence that is coming at you is the most powerful thing you can do. The most powerful, the most energetic thing is to say, no, this cannot continue. But often, we fall asleep. We fall asleep to that energy because it's exhausting to face it week after week, day after day. Situation after situation. We only have so much, and I found myself curled up in bed yesterday, going, enough, I need to rest. Again in Scripture, though, there was a great reminder that we need to wake up. In that same Holy Week, Jesus brings us to the Garden of Gethsemane. And when he goes to pray, to ask for divine help into facing what he's supposed to face next. And how many of us are needing a little help right now in facing everything we need to face? He finds his disciples all asleep. They couldn't stay awake with him. Now, in Unity, in New Thought, we look at the Bible and as Scripture as not as a historical record of what happened, but a metaphorical and metaphysical example of what's happening in our own lives here today. And so all of us have this higher self, this Christ consciousness that is praying and seeking guidance and help to be the best we can be. And there's the other part of us that is falling asleep, not able to make it through this, not able to make it through this storm. And somewhere in there, we can find the balance for ourselves, the self-care we need, and the forward motion to be the example in the face of violence and hatred, to be the example the world actually needs, to dream what is seemingly impossible. There was an example of this that I, in all honesty, feel like I really missed the boat that I really let this ball drop. I was asleep. And we all know it here in San Francisco. It was the moment, 3 years ago now, that Colin Kaepernick first took a knee, all alone, maybe a couple of his teammates following him. But the scorn and the ridicule and the derision that followed was unbelievable. And he lost his livelihood over it. Right? He lost his passion, what he wanted to do for his career, by taking a stand for what was right. And I agreed with him. I had total great intentions, saying, well, yeah, of course, there's unbelievable violence going against people of color. And that's a lovely way of protesting. But I didn't protest in the streets. I didn't talk about it here from platform. I didn't take a knee with him. I let him take all the heat. And how many of us did that, right? While he alone stood out there on the edge. I was asleep like the apostles. But no more. No more. I can forgive myself today for being asleep. But I want to stand up now because, as we also talked about last week, in quantum, there's no time, right? So right now, we can stand up. We can take a knee. We can say, no, this is what I wish to see. This is what I am willing to put it all on the line for. And if you don't like this, good. That's your choice and your right to come and talk to me about it, to join the Zoom meeting, to write in our chat room right now on Facebook and on YouTube and disagree with me. But for a man to take a knee in protest of violence, killing, and persecution of people of color, the systemic racism that is pervasive in our society, I will not stay silent anymore. Period. And I will not stay silent to the dream I hold. To the dream I hold of this whole nation rising up, where we get beyond this division of politics, this division of race, this division of nationality, and we come together to create a more perfect union, finally. But to do that, we must stop being distracted by the drama of the moment, the drama of the Twitter. Did you see what he tweeted today? The drama of MSNBC and of Fox News, and they did this, and they're showing this, and this one said this, and the drama of, I want to fight. And go back to something higher. We must stop being distracted and seek the higher truth. There is a call in each and every one of you. Each and every one of us here and each and every one of us at home. There is a call to a higher self. You know you were brought here to be something, right? A singer, a healer, a wonderful woman, a best friend. You're here to be a minister, to be a singer, here to lift up lives by your craft, by your work here on the planet. And we can stop letting everything else get in the way of that. Everything else. It makes no difference what your job is that pays you. Right now, you can reach that impossible dream. Right now, you can step up and be the change the world so needs. Right now, you can go where no one has gone before and create a world that has never existed. Last week, I talked about it as heaven on earth, that it is a concept and an idea that there's not a heaven up there that we're going to get to when we die, but that one we're going to create right here and right now. And there's a huge debate about that in theological circles. That's why I'm in a New Thought church. If you listen to traditional Protestant and Catholic religions, you only get to heaven by perishing from this life, by dying of this body. But heaven, if it's truly a state of consciousness, which I believe and Unity and New Thought teaches, is available to us all. But how many of us have been there? Right? Glimpses, maybe, little fleeting moments of heaven on earth. Can we all rise up, rise in consciousness, rise to our true nature, and co-create heaven right now, where we stop talking about each other and start supporting each other, where we stop deriding what is and create what truly is. This is our quest. This is our goal, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause. I love that. Poetry. I love that. We get to do it. So let's take that idea to our time of meditation.